Alright, it's a little bit dark, but this is the only area with sort of enough space to really show. So, for now, you shouldn't really be working on lunges because there are more things in a lunge that sort of need someone watching you and going over everything than what's in the more basic footwork. And technically you also don't even need lunges to attack. Obviously they really help, but it's even more important to stick with the basics, which is honestly just practicing various combinations of advances and retreats as much as you can. So, I'm sure you've already looked up advances and retreats, but I'm going to go over a couple things to pay attention to. So, from what I saw, your stance was fine. It was maybe a little far apart, but it's better to be a little too far apart than a little too close together. So you can try shortening your stance, but just do whatever makes it the most comfortable. So you should probably know about first kicking out and then bringing everything forward. That's a way to break it down into 2 steps, and then obviously you keep going until it is just 1 step. So, one thing to pay attention to is you're not placing the foot in a certain position and then pulling everything forward. You are actually pushing off with the back foot. It's not a whole lot, it's a fraction of what you do with a lunge, but it is how you move forward. And thinking of the advance by pushing off rather than pulling forward is a good way to make sure that you have the control that you need. Never do it to the point where you feel like you have to stop yourself. And so it's a good idea to make sure that you're sitting down on your legs as much as you can. When you're starting out learning, you're going to want to start to naturally stand up out of it. You need to resist that, and sort of like in the same way where it's better to have your feet too far apart than too close together, in that sense, it's also better to be sitting down too low than not sitting down enough. So I would recommend while you're learning to maybe even overdo it a little bit when you're sitting down. And it'll help strengthen your legs anyways. So basically just do the advance as many times as it takes until it becomes smooth and that you can do it in pretty much without thinking about it, which takes more practice than you might think. And real quickly, everything about the advance is the true for the retreat, just in reverse. You push off with your back leg, or with your front leg, and land in the en garde. I'm not sure if this is too advanced or not, but something that you can do is change the timing of each of your legs. And one thing that you can do to sort of figure out how you are balancing is by delaying landing your second leg in either step. So with an advance, you would delay landing with the back foot, like that. And then the opposite with the retreat, delaying with the front leg. And the way that you do that is not by leaning back so that you can land whenever. You are still upright, and you will eventually basically fall down until you land. So you're not actually balanced on one leg, you are still balanced here. You're just delaying the time it takes to land that second foot. And honestly, the best way that I've heard that my coach explained to me that honestly helped me the most was to think of it as just resisting gravity. It makes it harder to do, but once you get it down, it really helps with balance. So you basically take those two movements and you do all sorts of variations on them. You do advances that cover more ground in one step. You do a lot of advances with very short steps, and obviously everything is the same with also retreats. You do quick ones, you do slow ones, you do slow ones that don't cover much ground, or slow ones that cover a lot of ground. Because one mistake to make in the beginning is to basically assume that a slow advance is always short and a fast advance is always long. You don't want to think in terms of that, because then that means that you are always associating certain distances with certain timings, and that means you don't have control over those. So, yeah, small, medium, large, fast, medium, slow. You take those three distances and those three timings and basically combine them however you can, and you do all sorts of sets of them. And you basically take any combination you can. Like a real basic one is 2 advances, 1 retreat, 3 advances, 2 retreats, 4 advances, 3 retreats, so on and so forth. For the first couple days that you're doing this, make sure that there is a pause in between each movement, whether it's a fast one or a slow one, because you need to be able to always make sure that you have a good on guard in between every single step, because if you don't, things are going to go very bad very quickly. Only until you really start to, because the thing is, anyone can go fast. The better fencers know how to go slow. So once you get that, once you get accustomed to being able to separate each action, no matter how fast or slow it might be, with a pause, then you can start combining them more into actual sequences of movements. So I think that's the best thing to start out with. Obviously, if you have any questions, let me know.